Hello to all my scrappy friends. Welcome back to Nat Scraps. My name is Natalie Koenig and this is my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you're returning and seen lots of videos before, as this is one of your first videos that you've seen of mine. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening. Today's layout is the third layout that we're doing with the Christmas Story Scrapbooking Kit, along with a few added embellishments and the picture my life cards. Nearly forgot there for a second. So far what I have done is on my Cricut machine I chose a Christmas tree and I cut that out of that beautiful green paper. Now this green paper has a little tones of toffee in it, as well as some black, and I ummed and ahed what side of the paper I'd use, whether I use that dark blacker side or the lighter side, and I ended up going with this slightly lighter side. I've also cut four photo mats and a journaling mat there, and I had cut on the Cricut as well the title Christmas Day. Now these are all part of the digital download for Christmas Story, except for the tree. The tree is just from Design Space. It already came with that cut out through the middle and those two little strips, so I basically just sized it and whacked it in there. I also cut a reef and a bow for the top and the bottom that you will see a little bit later. I've cut two 4-inch strips that I have placed down along the bottom, and that is now ready to start embellishing. I'm just sort of like fiddling here with where my Christmas Day will most likely go. You'll see me have some absolute confusion as to which way the D goes, and I lost my mind for a few seconds trying to figure that out. And for some reason I thought the little circular bit should have been down the bottom, not up the top, but you know, the things that stump us. And that is the base of my layout. I'm going to cut that tree down the center, so I've got two separate pages and not two pages joined. And I did cut it a little bit crooked and had to go back in and trim that, but we'll worry about those bits later. And just making sure it's well stuck down as well. So the fun bit is really about to start, and this one is a fairly simple layout really in the end, but I think it does the job. It's nice to get 4 photos. You could have 5 photos on this. So it's nice to have quite a few photos, but also having that large photo that you can make as a centerpiece, whether it's the kids by the Christmas tree or if it's, you know, a photo of a stack of presents or something like that. It's nice to have those, that one larger. That is a 5x7, that large one that is on the left. Here I'm cutting out of some of the die cut embellishments that are meant in the scrapbooking kit. If you followed the instructions, you would have used those on one of the layouts, but I'm cutting just the presents out so I have them as embellishments on this page. I've also brought in that nutcracker from the sticker sheet, and he's my main focal piece that I'm going to have on the page. I'll start rifling through my little box of embellishments in a moment and trying to pull out a few more bits that will go with this nutcracker. So the first thing that I do pull out is that 25. And then I do at one stage look at, there's a picture my life card, and I look at that and think whether I would be able to cut out a second or a third nutcracker, but I don't actually do that in the end. Here I'm looking through the picture my life cards, and one of the things that I love about these is that they do such a range of colors and portrait and landscape, so you're bound to be able to find something that will go with your layout if you look through it long enough. Here's where I'm thinking about that nutcracker, and I decide against that. So I've chosen my picture my life card. I think I do not use that fa la la la. I don't know how that ends up staying there, but there is one underneath it that I do end up using. I pull out a couple of a little bit more embellishments from here, bring in a little sparkle of gold, and moving things around, which is one of my favorite things to do, as you know, is to move the layers around and try to decide. And that's where I'll get rid of the fa la la la. This one says all wrapped up. And there's another one that I bring in that says presents. And a third little tag that says Christmas. So we're all about to go. This is the one that says presents. Bring that one in there. Yep. I've got to find for a spot for it here somewhere. There we go. Found a spot. So we will just fiddle here for a little bit longer and find some little spots for these tags. And then I'm going to have a little bit of a look, and I feel that the background needs just a little bit more. So I'm going to bring in that splatter box, and I'm going to bring in the gold gloss spray. Now I really like this spray. This is actually the first layer I think that I've done with the gold gloss spray. So I was getting used to how to spray this and how it worked. See here I got some quite big splatters, and then I tried to do that again on the other page, and I got sort of a big clump in the middle, which wasn't what I really wanted. Went back and added a bit more fine to the other side, and later on I tried to add a little bit more and I failed miserably, but we will get to my failures soon enough. Here I am just taking off ½ inch from the edges and ¼ inch from the top and the bottom, and what I'm doing there is I'm going to mat these up onto some toffee cardstock. Now there is that really light toffee in that Christmas tree, in the green Christmas tree, and that just brings in the gold and the toffee, and I feel like it really just worked well to have that as a highlighted color on the edge. I cut out where I put all that back together, and we're back to starting to adhere everything down. So I'm going to bring in my T-square ruler, and if you haven't got a T-square ruler, what are you doing? The new one is absolutely fabulous. I loved my old ones, but they don't compare at all to these new Close to My Heart T-square. It is magnificent. Just the fact that it's longer than the Versamat, so you can go all the way across the page, that alone makes it so worthwhile. But you'll see here I'm using it to guide the photo mats up against where it is as I'm adhering them down. And then when I move the photo mats, move it over to do the center photo mats, I actually line it up. It's got grid lines on the clear part of the ruler, in the center of the ruler, and I make sure that there's the same amount of grid line left between the top one and the bottom one. So I run it down, and you kind of can see there that there's a small gap there, and that's where I line it up. It makes making things the same distance apart really, really easy and simple. Now I'm going to go through and put some foam tape on these little bits of wreath, and what I will do is add the foam tape to the ends, and then in the center where there is less need for that embellishment, because there's going to be a bow over it, I'll actually glue that down. And I do that to both the top wreath and the bottom one, if I can ever get the backs off those bits there. They can be fiddly sometimes, the smaller pieces. Here I'm going through and attaching those embellishments. So some of those are glued down, and other pieces have the foam tape behind them, such as the nutcracker and some of the presents. I'll talk about what I'm doing there in a second, and we'll move on to the next little bit, which is the two bows. So what I did when I cut these on the Cricut machine, because the Close to My Heart paper has a light side and a dark side, I cut them double, and then I swapped so that the top bow without the little tails is the lighter side and the bow bit below is the darker side of the paper. That means that it already has some dimension. And then I went and added lots of blending to that as well, and added a bit of foam tape to that tiny little centerpiece, so there was lots of dimension in those bows, and I think it worked really, really well. I did that to both of those, but I don't think you needed to see me do all of that twice, so I've cut a bit out. Okay, so now for the title for the page. Now, before you've seen a very brief clip of me spraying these 2 green strips, what I did is I went and I recut this lettering, but I put some adhesive sheet on the back so that I could then peel them off and adhere them straight down to a piece of clear plastic, or acetate, as some people call it. Here you can see then I could just peel off and stick down without needing glues or anything else. Now, you can glue these straight to the page, or you could stick these straight to the page. The reason I've put them on a piece of acetate for this particular page is that it's going to cover over where the photo mount is. So if I didn't do that, I have to leave them off the page or somehow peel them up, do something with them when I go to put the photo on. The fact that it's on plastic, I don't need to take the adhesive off the end letters that are going to cover that photo, and later I can easily add my photo to this page. So for me, that's a workaround. For other people, you might not like the fact that plastic does make a sort of a grey look a bit under the title, and that's fine. When I get to actually putting photos on this page, which will probably be just after Christmas, after I've taken some new Christmas photos, I may choose to recut this title and then just stick it straight down, or I may just lift it up and pop the photo in. We'll just see, depending on how I feel when I actually go to put these on. So you can see there I added those tiny little pieces of the foam tape to the back, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing to the word day and add to that to the page as well. And this is getting very close to finish, so there's a couple of tiny little details, but here's when I stuff up a little bit with that gloss spray. I think I need a little bit in that corner to match the other side, and I spray and do it wrong, and then spray, and then I do some droplets, and I should have just left it here, but I was still not happy, and so I tried to spread it out a bit more, and then I stuff it up a bit more, and I go and I take that and I wipe it away and get a little bit of a baby wipe and get most of that back off. And then I think I should be spraying the spray box, because that's, you know, going to be better. Spray it again, and it's still not perfect. I should have left it with those few dots that were on there. I did overspray there, so what I'm doing now is just turning that page around to cover that little bit of an overspray up, and that will, you won't see that little bit of ugliness there, and remove the little bit of sticky that's left. So I did fix it. Is it perfect? No. Is anybody else but you and me going to know about this? If you haven't seen the video, you're probably not going to notice. I don't think anybody's going to walk up and go, she's stuffed up in that corner. So this finally, guys, is the last few touches. So I'm bringing in the sticks. Some days I just can't say this word, guys. Stickles in the Christmas red, and I'm going to also come in with lots of dots of the liquid pearl, and I'm just absolutely loving these final touches that I'm popping on these Christmas story pages. These tiny dots of liquid pearl and stickles. That word really does get to me. And then we're done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate everybody that tunes in, watches the videos, and spends this little bit of their day with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.